Good morning. This is Fellowship of Spirit coming to you from Farmington, New Mexico. It is now the 28th of July, and it is a bright, sunny summer day here. We're just having a great time here in San Juan County. I'm Ron Holloway, and I'll be your moderator. Today, Shaye Johnson's going to bring our message, and we're excited to hear about that. Margaret Cheesebro is going to play our music, and I am going to read a spiritual reading of some sort. And Susan will be doing our opening prayer, and so it's all good. But just to give you a highlight of what's going to happen today over the next hour, and so just sit back and relax and enjoy. Don and Neva, we're absolutely delighted that you're with us. So, without further ado, Jerry, are there any announcements?
Yes, we are signed up for the fair booth, which will be from the 13th through the 17th of August. I have a couple of evenings that are open if anybody wants to sit out there from about 4:30 or 5 o'clock until 7:30 or 8 and talk to people and hand out flyers and let them know who we are. I would be greatly appreciated if you'd get a hold of me. We have several people signed up already, but it looks like we may be doing double duty at this time.
Okay.
Anyway, we're also planning on a reunion Sunday, the first Sunday in October, and there'll be a flyer coming out about that on Constant Contact. And other than that, goodbye July, hello August.
There you go. If you couldn't hear, Cynthia just joined us. That's great. Hi, Cynthia. Jerry just said that we are now confirmed to have our booth at the San Juan County Fair, and it will be through August
13th through 17th.
the 13th through the 17th. And we have some of our times, our people have committed to cover them, but we still need a couple more.
Just a few hours in the evening is all that's needed.
A few hours in the evening is all that we're going to man the booth. But if you want to come and talk to people about fellowship, it would be wonderful. So just contact Jerry and let her know. Also, we will be having a reunion Sunday meeting on the first Sunday of October, which would be our potluck Sunday. So if you know someone who hasn't been coming, but it used to be a part of our regulars, call them up, invite them to come, and we're going to try to get as many people here for that meeting as we possibly can. So,
and even new people.
Yeah, we can have some unions so that we can have reunions later, huh? All right. So I don't have, oh, here it is. Okay. We're going to have our prelude first. Margaret is going to, and it is titled, I Can Only Imagine by Bart Millard. right, thank you, Margaret. That was beautiful. Okay. Opening prayer, Susan, you're on.
Good morning. And it's a wonderful morning. You have sunshine there. We have had just a downpouring of blessings of rain. The grass is like 6 inches high now. So lots of blessings, whatever it is, rain or sun. Okay, so let's close our eyes. Take a deep breath and in through that crown chakra. Let's bring God's healing light into our bodies. Mother, Father, God, we give thanks this day for all the blessings in whatever ways they come, in all that we deem possible or positive, and also that which we see as challenges to our day, knowing that it is strengthening us. We give thanks that we will be able to offer and show our services to others through the fair and through each other, coming together. And so each one of us bringing someone else, letting them know that the light is here, that there's blessings to be had in every part of their life. We ask for healing for those who find themselves ill and unable to participate. We ask you to be not only with us, but with our families, for all of our loved ones, and for all of those people that we contact in every way, every day, knowing that each one of them is part of us and is helping us to become the light of the world. For all of these wonderful things, we truly give thanks. And so it is. Namaste.
Thank you, Susan. All right, so now we have another song. Be Here Now, is that it?
Now is the only moment. Now is the only moment. Be in this moment, breathe in this moment, love in this moment. Be here now. Be here now in this moment. Now is the only moment. Now is the only moment. Be in this moment, breathe in this moment, love in this moment. Be here now. Be here now in this moment.
All right, thank you, Margaret. Okay, so now we're gonna do a spiritual reading. Oh, we're gonna do our reflective moment first? Okay, we can do that too. Let's see, I probably should put on my cheaters. Okay, so our reflective moments in our flyer, so repeat after me. Love produces a flow of energy that I now feel. I love others more than ever, and I feel privileged to be here. Love flows from one person to another as we create an atmosphere of holiness, and so it is. Okay, so I'm just going to open up this Conversations with God, book 1. Can't go wrong. So, okay. So, Neil Donald Walsh asked the question, so I don't have to keep the 10 Commandments in order to get to heaven? And God answers, there is no such thing as getting to heaven. There is only a knowing that you are already there. There is an accepting, an understanding, not a working for or a striving. You cannot go to where you already are. To do that, you would have to leave where you are, and that would defeat the whole purpose of the journey. The irony is that most people think that they have to leave where they are to get where they want to be. And so they leave heaven in order to get to heaven and go through hell. Enlightenment is understanding that there is nowhere to go, nothing to do, and nobody you have to be except exactly who you are being right now. You're on a journey to nowhere. Heaven, as you call it, is nowhere. It's just let's just put some space between the W and the H in that word, and you'll see that heaven is now here. Pretty good. Thank you. Okay. So now we have another song. He Healeth Me, song number 137 in the Brown Book. All right. Thank you, Margaret. Okay. Shaye Johnson is going to give us a speech now, and her title is Thoughts on God. She has a presentation, which when I rebooted my system, I lost, I'm sure.
Oh, you rebooted the system?
Oh, I had to do that, yes. So, what I'm gonna do, if you'll indulge us, we had this all set up and then I had to reboot the system. So it won't take but just a moment. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to make it bigger.
gotta do view.
Oh, that's right, that, I lost that last step. You go
Slideshow.
to slideshow. Ah, okay. There we go. So,
I need your mic.
right, let me turn this over there.
Okay, can everyone hear me? All right. Good to be here today.
We're glad you're here.
So I have a problem with God. It's been going on for years now. I've been asking the question of who is God really? Is he loving, judgmental, arbitrary, holy? Is it a he? Maybe it's a she. Does it even exist? And lately, what is God really? Is it a personality at all? Maybe a force, spirit, the universe, love, you and me? I've been struggling with this problem ever since I was a teenager. I remember watching a sermon on VHS at church on New Year's Eve. The preacher was an independent fundamental Baptist pastor, and he said, "You can have a close personal relationship with God if you want to." And I thought, how? But the preacher didn't go on to give any instructions. It was just something you could have if you tried hard enough. I wrestled with how to get closer to God for years. I wanted to because of the promised benefits, God's blessings. If you had a close relationship with God, your life would be characterized by success in your ministries, grace through life's trials, and peace of mind. I felt largely responsible for the success of our church. My relationship with God directly affected how much he blessed it. And the emotional turmoil I felt as a young teenager revealed how little of a relationship I actually had with God. As I searched for directions, I listened to lots of sermons and read lots of books. Oops, go back. Roll the wheel up. Thank you. I listened to lots of sermons and read books on other people's experiences. Can I see the mouse?
Yeah.
I
You can make it work
read
right there.
in college Evidence Not Seen, the autobiography of Darlene Deibler Rose. For a while, I admired her for the beautiful relationship she obviously had with God. She talked to God, and he talked back to her, bringing her comforting thoughts, snippets of scripture, poems, and songs. She went through some very dark times as a prisoner of war, and that personal relationship she had with God sustained her. Eventually, however, a feeling of jealousy overcame my admiration. How could she have what I could not? Why would God talk to her and not to me? Anger and frustration filled me, and I flung the book across the room. Because in spite of my efforts, the time I spent in devotions, reading my Bible and praying, serving in church ministries, I felt no closer to God. Dad's church continued to struggle and eventually closed down. And I still fought with my emotions and felt no peace. As time passed, I viewed myself as deficient. I was doing something wrong, or harboring sin, or giving into laziness in some way. My unhappiness grew into depression. Life was hard, and I didn't want to do it anymore. I wanted to leave this earth and go to heaven, where there is no separation from God. But a new thought occurred to me. Maybe I wasn't doing anything wrong. Maybe I didn't have a close personal relationship with God because he wasn't loving like I was told. Maybe he was judgmental and arbitrary. Maybe he loved Darlene Deibler Rose and not me. Maybe he broke his promises or had never made such nice promises in the first place. Or maybe he didn't even exist. That was a scary thought that I tried to banish at first. I put blinders on to my doubts and lived harder than ever the teachings of the Independent Fundamental Baptist Church. But a year passed and the blinders fell off. I knew I couldn't go on the way I was. It just wasn't possible anymore. So I gave myself permission to research atheism. If God didn't exist, was there even a reason to go on living? Did life offer love and beauty outside the way I was raised? I went to the library and checked out books written by unbelievers. I looked online for the stories of people who had let go of God. And I found instructions for dismantling the idea of God in your mind. I've long since forgotten the YouTuber who posted it, and my efforts to find him again have failed. But I remember his formula. He said the concept of God, like the picture, is a many-faceted thing. It is bolstered by religious upbringing, by personal experience, by the Bible, by social groups, etc. You have to address each facet individually if you're going to bring down the idea of God in your mind. So, critically question what you were raised to believe. Pray to a jug of milk for a while and see if you have more or less answered prayer. Release yourself from the expectations and opinions of others through critical thinking. Question the Bible, and eventually, logic will cut the idea of God from your mind. It will die. I did it. I cut God from my mind and watched it die. I felt its presence wane and disappear. The judgment I felt over me constantly went away. Contrary to what my parents believe, I don't walk in rebellion to God and the way I was raised. I really don't feel it anymore. But I'll warn you that such a paradigm shift is not easy to endure. The ground falls away from underneath your feet, and you tumble through space for a while. Because if God doesn't exist, then what about all the assumptions about life that depended on his existence? Like the sovereignty of the United States, were our forefathers really right to overpower Native Americans and claim this land as ours? And history as we've been taught, is it really accurate? And morality, why be good if there's no God to enforce it? On and on the questions go, and there aren't easy answers to be had. if one remains committed to critical thinking. I floundered for a while I built a new worldview. One place that helped me was the All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. They gave me space to ask questions and a safety net to catch me if I fell on my face. And they helped me realize that atheism doesn't have all the answers. It can't, because it doesn't allow for experiences or understanding outside of nature. Even the Big Bang Theory doesn't account for the initial spark that started everything. The minister at All Souls told me once that I threw out the baby with the bathwater when I got rid of God while leaving the Independent Fundamental Baptist Church. And maybe I did. But I don't know any other way I could have excised their God from my mind, because we were taught to automatically reject any other view of God that didn't line up with their narrow way of interpreting Scripture. But as someone who is now interested in matters of spirit, that left me in a quandary of what to do with God. I've been trying to pray again for a while now, but it's hard to pray when you don't have a clear idea of who or what you're praying to. For a while, I just expressed heart wishes for the well-being of myself and others. Later, I began addressing my prayers to Mother God. In fact, I still do, because I had this feeling that I had to restore God to my mind with a correct view of his or her personality. I just couldn't do it. The most I could do was acknowledge God as a force of love, spirit, the universe. But my mind balked at attributing will or personality to it. One of these days, I'm going to do a talk on prayer. I want to answer the question, can you pray without being religious? In fact, I typed that question into Google, wondering what advice I could find. Eventually, I uncovered a book, How to Pray Without Being Religious, by Janelle Moon. I have yet to read it, because I also found a second book, which inspired my current talk, God Without Religion, Questioning Centuries of Accepted Truth by Sankara Saranam. I came to the realization that it's hard to talk about prayer until you've dealt with the question of God. Despite my having cut the Independent Fundamental Baptist God from my mind, there were still vestiges left. Like cobwebs, they obscured my thinking. Long-held emotions still hung about surrounding the idea of God. God Without Religion helped clear them. The author gave permission to wonder about the nature of God, asking, what is God? Without providing any answers. Ask yourself, ask other people for personal perspectives on the nature of God. The point is to go beyond religious teachings and seek inside for the answer that makes sense to you. I have become convinced that the search for God is a highly personal one. We all have individual worldviews colored by our upbringing and our experiences. The conclusions that we draw will vary from person to person. Like fingerprints, they are all unique. And yet, every one of them is valid and contains truth. Have you ever heard of the parable of the blind man and the elephant? Yes, no?
Yes.
A group of blind men encounter an elephant for the first time. They touch a different part of the elephant's body and describe the animal based on their limited experience. They can't believe how different each other's descriptions are, believing they are possibly lying, and fight amongst themselves. I interpret the moral of the story into how we view God. Oops, sorry, I forgot about the elephant. Whether religious or spiritual, we are each still blind, and our experience of God is limited. We have a point of view, and that's it. No religion or person, no matter how new or old, no matter how sincere, has anything more than a point of view. Nobody has the whole truth, and nobody ever will. As someone who walks between worlds, I have searched for who might have the whole truth. I left the Independent Fundamental Baptist Church because they claim to have it, but they don't. I left atheism, who also claims to have it, because I found their views to be too narrow and exclusive of anything spiritual. When I found Unitarian Universalism, they fostered within me this view that nobody knows the whole truth. I read A Chosen Faith by John A. Burens. He likened different views on God to a stained glass window. Each religion and spirituality looked at God through a different color of glass and from a slightly different angle. While they all looked at the same thing, they all described God differently. I go a little farther and say that each person has their own bit of glass through which to view God. As I have gone through years of searching and inquiry, I've been unwilling to settle with any one faith to say I am thus and such, because I differ in some fundamental way with each one. Sankara Saranam recommends a search for God in ourselves and in the views of those around us. But he gives some cautionary advice. Use your reason. If it doesn't make sense to you, discard it, and beware of a narrow sense of self. Why? Because a narrow sense of self fosters a narrow view of others. It is what characterizes religious views which advocate attacking those of a different view. A narrow sense of self engenders self-hatred and leads to attacks on others. In fact, it could be said that the book, God Without Religion, is all about fostering a broader, freer sense of self. As I talk to you today, I suggest beginning or continuing your own search for God. A lot of us in Fellowship of Spirit have gone through a loss of faith in how we were raised. We have journeyed through no man's land to where we are today. Perhaps you find contentment in your current views. Or if you're like me, you still struggle with elements of the past. It is possible to find peace in the struggle. It is possible to lay to rest those old views once and for all and embark on a bright new spiritual quest. The book, God Without Religion, helped me do that. As soon as I laid down the old fight with my previous concept of God and opened myself to new perceptions, I found something new and exciting. My quest for information about God led me to read a book on Gnosticism that has sat largely untouched in my library for several years. Talking with Susan Barnes also served as a catalyst to pick up that book and actually read it. Not too long ago, I started a practice of getting up early in the morning to spend 30 minutes reading some inspirational text, followed by a short period of prayer and reflection. It has made a huge difference in my life. The long struggle with myself and my emotions has eased and been replaced with a new sense of balance and peace of mind. I can't explain it, why it worked, but I'm so grateful for the change. One morning, as I was reading the book on Gnosticism, I had somewhat of an epiphany. The book was talking about an imperfect God that created an imperfect world. I'll pause and clarify that Gnostics believe in a perfect, impersonal God force that has existed forever. Sophia emanated from this God force as an imperfect being who was responsible for the creation of the material universe through her offspring and sometimes evil demiurge. Of course, that's a very simplistic summation of Gnostic thought on God and creation. Let's go back to that sentence about an imperfect God. I had an impression in that moment of God revealing itself to me. Here I am. This is who I've always been. And I felt a yearning inside me. I thought, here is a God I can relate to. Here is a God I want to have a personal relationship with. In Gnosticism, she would be called Sophia, a personal God. One who struggled in many ways to get back to the God source she came from. So I started talking to her and listening for her responses. I asked, why, when I was searching for you all those years ago in college, did you not answer me? Why did silence drift down like snow? The answer came to me later as I drove to work. I had been in something described by Sylvia Brown in her book, Soul's Perfection, as a karmic dome. Let me explain it this way. It's a trap created by someone else's worldview, like the way I was raised in the Independent Fundamental Baptist Church. It goes against something deep inside me. It hems me into a harmful way of thinking. This karmic dome is all-controlling and makes it seem like there's no way out. But some people, like you and I, find it too painful to live in the dome. We crash against the side of it and find that it breaks. We are free. Back when I was looking for God, I was in the deafening confines of a doxic worldview. I could not hear God, though she responded. I had to face the pain of breaking out of the dome and traveling through years of disillusionment before I could finally arrive at the place where I could see and hear her. And I am still reading and searching and asking questions. I'm building a beautiful, personal view of God that has never existed for me before. And today, I invite you to do something similar. Search for God in yourself and see what you find. Remember, this isn't a search for the whole truth. This is a search for your own understanding of God. It won't look exactly like mine or anyone else's. But if you remain dedicated to a broader, freer sense of self, you will find something precious. Let me close by reading a poem from Rumi. Your call is his answer. All night, a dervish was crying, Allah, until his lips grew sweet with praise of him. The devil came up to him. Hey, noisy one. After calling so many Allahs, where is the response of here I am to all these Allahs? I don't hear any response coming from the throne. How long will your sad face keep crying, Allah? The man's heart broke, and he fell asleep. Dreaming, he saw Kadir in radiant green. Kadir said to him, "You've stopped praising God. Why have you repented of having called him?" The dervish said, "Because no, here I am, came to me in answer. I feared that I might be one who is denied his door." Kadir said, "God wants you to know that every Allah of yours is his here I am, and that your prayer and grief and longing are his message to you. God is telling you, your efforts to find a way to me were my drawing you to me, and it freed your feet from their bonds. Your trepidation and your love are the rope to catch my blessing. Beneath every O Lord of yours is many a here I am of mine." Namaste.
Thank you, Shaye.
Much good so far.
All right, does anyone have any questions for Shaye or make any comments or?
Excellent. It's a journey, for sure. And you tapped me on many things that I've been through my life for a number of years, and still wanting to feel safe and secure, but stay who I am, and not have to be called a Christian in order to be a good person. And that's just shocking to me. I'm a good person because I'm a good person. I like that.
And not according to anyone else's rules.
You got it. And I don't even want that now. That's not who I am.
Are we done with the share?
Yeah, you can stop share.
Okay. There we go.
Shay, thank you. Thank you for sharing your journey. Thank you for keep reading, for inquiring, for opening your mind. What a magnificent way to live your life. And because you're looking for it, you will find it. And it'll be great. And I just really, really appreciate how you share things. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Shaye. You did wonderfully. All right, there we go. So that was wonderful. And now we have another song. Let's do it.
Our children today, they're still vacationing before school starts.
Right. Okay, but right now we're to the song. Let's Be. It's not to be confused with Let It Be, by the Beatles. Song number 336 in the Brown Book.
The very first words in this song are really a reflection, in a way, of what Shaye's been talking about. Let's be what we're made to be. And sometimes it takes some searching to find that. But it's worth finding it. Let's start again here. Let's be what we're made to be. It's not just our destiny. Let's not start our lives today. Onward on our way. Let's be what we really are. Seek and find our inner star. Let's go forward in the light, faces shining bright. Sons of God, unlimited are we. Let us prove the truth that sets us free. Let's present our highest gift, knowing where is uttermost. Hallelujah in all I sing. Let's not wait, let's be sons of God. Unlimited are we. Let us prove the truth which sets us free. Let's accept our highest gift, knowing there is no other road. Hallelujah, all I sing. Let's not wait, let's be.
All right. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you for playing our music today. I think you just keep getting better and better the more that she plays. So thank you. All right, there are no children today, and there are only a few of us in the congregation, and we've already done our celebration of abundance. Just to remind everyone that we have a confirmed date for our booth at the fair. It'll be the 13th through the 17th, is that right?
Sorry?
13th through the 17th? 13th through the 17th of August. And so we need still a couple of people to fill in a couple of nights for a couple of hours out there so that we can have someone to man the booths to talk to the public about Fellowship of Spirit. That, and what was the other one, the reunion Sunday is gonna be the first Sunday in October, so we have some time to talk about that.
And next Sunday is our potluck.
Next Sunday is our potluck, and Mark Wolf will be speaking. And I don't know what his talk's gonna be about, but it'll be interesting and it'll be fun. The next week after that is the 11th of August, and my son will be speaking, and he'll be I don't know what his title of his talk is, but it's gonna be on Stoicism. So that'll be pretty interesting. Also, that's my birthday, so we just found that we didn't do that on purpose, it just worked out. So we're looking forward to that, and then next Sunday is gonna be, who? The third Sunday you just got, is it Susan? Jerry? Oh, okay. Anyway, we've got 2 Sundays booked and the third one tentative. So,
Well, the rest of them are done. I just
the rest of them are done, we just don't remember what they are. But anyway, we have our messages and our speakers all lined up for you for the next month or two, and it'll be good. So
Constant contact, you'll know.
check your constant contact. You'll be given notices before they happen and links to be able to hook up with us on Zoom or come to the sanctuary. We'd love to have you here in person or on Zoom. We don't really care, but we prefer to have you so that we can get hugs from you, because that's what we really like, that personal touch. All right. Thank you, Shaye, for your sharing with us today. We appreciate it. Okay, I suppose that'll do it. We can just circle up and we'll have a very small circle today, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. You know, all circles are perfect. You know, so. And that was kind of the message, what I kept coming to me was that we are all perfectly imperfect.
Yes. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, family all are we. So let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me, as this is the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and let it begin with me. May God bless you and keep you until we meet again. Yes. All right.
One of the things that I have found most fascinating about watching the Olympics is all of the, all of the people, all the advertising, all of the promotional stuff is all mentioning peace,
Yes.
love, and connection.
Yes.
Absolutely all of it. Even commercial advertising
I
has
would
been
agree.
beautiful.
Yes, it is. I want to watch the commercials.
I do,
No, I
yeah.
do jump back out. I gotta see what they're gonna say this time.
Exactly.
You're absolutely right.
And our stained glass teacher works for Dick's Sporting Goods also,
Uh-huh.
and even a sporting goods store has a
See you next
peace
week.
and a